Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about dye-based watercolor paints, and we're going to compare two brands that I have. The first brand is Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Concentrated Watercolor. This comes, I think, in 3 or 4 sets. I don't remember. I bought them all from Dick Blick for $200. And we are going to look at the Micador from Australia 6-disc 36 set of dye-based pan paints. So a lot of illustrators like using these paints because the colors are so bright and beautiful. However, one thing to know, it can fade over time, especially if you expose it to direct sunlight, or some have even reported indoor lighting. Now, I personally have not experienced that, but I have limited history with these dye-based paints, so I've been using them for a short amount of time. However, I think if you do this in a sketchbook or like I've made cards with it, I think they're fine. So if you're concerned about that, then you might want to scan your artwork. A price comparison is about $50 for me to get. I got really lucky because they also sent me this seasonal set, winter, spring, summer, fall. So I did a color chart for you. This is the Dr. P.H. Martin, and I have 2 swatches. The one on the left is going to represent what comes directly out of the bottle. Okay, so that's why it's darker. You could tell that the colors are really, really, really vibrant. These beautiful colors. And the one on the right is because I watered it down. So I dipped my brush in water, and then I I probably applied some and then I dipped it in water, and that's how I got a more muted color, just so that I could see the color range that you could get. You can go, of course, lighter. So let's compare that to the Micador set. To be fair, let me move this lighting so it's on it. Move this over. Okay, so here's the Micador. Also beautiful colors, very bright, and again did the same thing. This is the seasonal, and I try to get the very concentrated version. Now, to use the pan set, what you do is you just put water on here, and then I'll dip the brush in there, and I let the water saturate the dried paint, and then you'll get this vibrant color right from the get-go. And this works a little bit, opposite the liquid ones, because right from the get-go it's a vibrant color, and you need, if you want it less, you have to tone it down with water. Where this, you can get the lighter version. Again, you would tone it down with water, but to get the heavy saturation, you'll just let the water sit on there, and then you dip your brush, and you'll get a very, very vibrant amount of color, which is opposite of watercolors, or it can be, because watercolors, if you wet the pan, and I'll do a demonstration for you, the first layer is not going to be as dark. So really, really super pretty. Now, some pros and cons between the hydrous, because my question when I was considering, originally I had the hydrous, and I thought, oh god, 42 colors, I think that's everything you could possibly want. And then I saw the Micador, and I thought, oh my gosh, now I want these. And there are differences. I mean, I thought that there would be similarities, but I don't think they really are, because, like, if I were to look, for example, at this amber, maybe the tiger matches, but not really, because it's more of a yellow than an orange. So you really are getting different colors. See, even the browns, the sepia and the brown, they don't really match up. So that's the good news. You get different colors. And if you're somebody like me who likes to have more, it's a good thing. Okay, but what if you could only have one or the other? Let's talk about some pros and cons. Okay, so the Hydrus, you get 42 colors versus 36. And you're thinking, oh, more is better. Well, personally for me, I'm not, unless maybe you like neon, but I'm not a big neon person. So these neon highlighter-like colors, I could do without. But I will tell you, the black, oh my gosh, this black is so dark. Love this black. So if you had to just buy one of these things, get the black, people, because it's a really, really deep black. Even with pan paints, I have trouble getting that dark of a black. And here is, in comparison, the black with the Micador. Not quite as black. Still dark, but not, this is like a true black. And people always say, oh, you can mix black, but let me tell you, having a good black like that is helpful. And you don't have to keep layering it to get that deeply of a black. Okay, so lots of colors. That's a pro for the Hydrus. Both are, I would say, are vibrant. Maybe, well, I mean, I really do think they're pretty close in vibrancy. So I don't even want to say maybe one is brighter than the other, because I'm comparing it. Okay, you need very, very little on both of these to get the color saturation. So that's great, because if you were to use a pan paint, and what I mean by a pan paint, I mean like this. This is what I call a pan paint. They come in tubes that you can put into these little pans, or they already come with the watercolor filled up in the pan. So that's what I mean by pan paint. And typically when you do this pan paint, you need a lot of layers to get it dark. So you need very little of the liquid or this to get all this. So that's good. You're not using a lot of paint. The cons. Okay, taking these, traveling, not good, not easy. A lot of weight. They could break, they could leak. So portability is not great. But if you are somebody who doesn't do travel art, then you're just going to keep it in your house, your little studio, that's fine. Storage. It does take up a lot of space. I have this cart here. I have other things on this cart. This cart's a big old mess. But I put the Hydrus paints here so that I can see, and I swatched them out. So it's easy to grab and go. But it takes up a lot of space. Versus this. This is very portable. I can take it traveling, and it's very easy to pack it up and go. So you just grab and go, right? So I like that. Also with these, you have to shake the bottle before, because what happens, let's see if I can find one. There you go. See all that sediment on the bottom there? So you have to shake it to get it all mixed in. And I guess that's not that big of a deal, but you know, it's just something else you have to do. And sometimes this is hard to open. So if you have arthritis or you have trouble opening up things, sometimes the paint can dry on the top and make it difficult to open. Where this is fairly easy to open. It's just a little twist, and you're good to go. So that's the pros and the cons of these things. And you know, this one, if you buy the 6-disc set for $50, then you have all the colors. Versus if you get the seasons, basically all the colors that are in the seasons are in the 6-disc set. If you just want to try it out, then you could just buy per season. And I'm not sure what the price is on the seasons because they gifted it to me. So I'm gonna do some swatching so you can see what this is all about. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure you can see this. We are gonna have, I'll do it like that. Okay, see, this is hard to open. See, takes some strength. Just saying. This is the Dr. P.H. Martin, right out of the get-go. See how dark that is? Very dark, love it. And if I dip my paint in my brush in water, I can get lighter, lighter. The more water that I use, I can get lesser value there. So that's cool. Now, with this one, you see that I have, this is the Micador. I have some water already on there, and so I can just swirl it on there, and I'll get my black like that too. Again, dip my brush, and I can get a little bit less of a concentration. And you'll see that these colors are different. This almost has like a purple undertone to it, where this has a grayer undertone to it. And then this is my pan. And I put water in there so it's concentrated, and you'll see, even though I have water in there, do you see how it's not as dark? Now, I would have to get a lot of this paint on here, and even still, so what I would have to do with this is I would have to layer it, basically put more and more layers of paint in order to achieve this darkness. That's what I mean. But this one is called Ivory Black, so it just depends on your black color. I recently found a good black. I can't take it out of this. But this is from the Art Philosophy. I love this black, so can you see it? I'm just gonna activate it with water, and I'm gonna show you this black. Really good deep black. Even though this one isn't what the video is about, I just wanted to tell you about this black because I'm totally in love. And I loved it so much that they used to be, I think they changed the company name. Used to be Prima, but now they're going with Art Philosophy, and they actually sell individual pans, and they said they're coming out with a tube, so I'm waiting for the tube to come out. Okay, so then if I lessen this, just so you can see what the color is. So again, that's kind of got a great undertone to it too. And of course you can mix black, but let me tell you, mixing black is not the same thing. I mean, you know, to me, yeah, you can get a fairly deep black, but not like this. You're gonna get, oh, let's see, what did I do with the, I think I threw those out, but I was playing around, and might be in my sketchbook. Yeah. I was playing around with some color mixing, and here's how I was able to mix some blacks using ultramarine blue and burnt umber and green, like a dark green, and I came up with some blacks. One I really liked with this was the sepia with the Payne's gray. That gave a good black, but still, I kind of like this Micador black. And oh, look at this one. It's kind of kind of faded out, but maybe because I touched it with the water. The Dr. PH used to be my favorite black until I found the Art Philosophy black. So that I just recently discovered as I was doing the dog paintings. If you follow me on Instagram, you can, or if you don't, you can check out my dog paintings. Okay, so we're going to do another color just so you could see. Okay, so for this next comparison, we're going to go on to our red family. So in here, I have the P.H. Martin Crimson. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is the reds in the Dr. P.H. Martin. I didn't think they had that many reds. They have about 4 or 3. I don't know. Do you want to call this a red? I thought the reds tended to be more towards the orange side. This crimson was really the only true red. And on the Micador side, in their kits, they had, I think, a couple reds. Hang on a second. Okay, so they had like 3 reds. So they have, in their set, they had the, let me make sure you can see this. This red. They had Cardinal Red, which I thought was a great red. Both of these reds I thought were nice reds. And then they have this Perm Red, which is a little bit on the fluorescent pink side. So for me, these two were the reds that I like. I find that reds are hard to find, a good red. They're going to be either more on the orange side or the pink side. So it's hard to find like a true red. For this demonstration, we're using the CAD red. I don't know if I've already said that. And I don't know off the top of my head which manufacturer, but all my pan paints that I squeeze into these little half pans, they are artist quality. So they're either going to be like Winsor Newton, Daniel Smith, Schminkel, if I'm saying that right, that caliber, where it's artist grade, high quality stuff. Okay, so let's start off with the Dr. P.H. Martin. And here's the crimson. And that's a nice bright color. Nice bright red. And then if I dip it in water so that I can get a less concentrated amount there, so you could see punch it down a little bit. Okay, next up, the Micador. Get some on my brush, and oh, that's nice and thick. Got a lot of paint on there too. And then I'll dip that in the water, punch that down. So that one has like more of a orange undertone. Well, this one is more like a pink undertone. And then we'll go with the pan. Now, this pan, look at that concentration. So that's one thing that with some watercolor pigments out of the pan, it's not always true that you have to build up the colors. I noticed that like with phthalo blue, that's a highly concentrated color. You just wet that one and splashes of brilliant blue color all over the place, which is amazing. So I think it has to do with, the pigments that they use to make these paints. So not all of the pan sets you need to build up, but in the case of the black, that was just a great example of usually what I find in most blacks, you have to build it up. But in conclusion, if you had to choose, what would you choose and why? Well, like I had mentioned, the bottles are great, but they're not as portable. So if you don't care about portability, then that's a great thing to have. Where these Micadors are very easy to stack up and take with you. They give you the bright colors. They have beautiful variations of colors and take up very little space, where these bottles can take up a lot more space. Or you can get the pan sets. But these pan sets, I find you got to kind of know what colors you're looking for. It took me a long time to find the right colors in the pan sets, because I don't know why, because I think there's so many manufacturers, and what everybody thinks is a great red versus what you're looking for are not always equal. So it took me a while to build up the right color palette for, it depends also what you paint. Do you paint people? Do you paint landscapes? Do you paint flowers? Do you paint animals? All those things are gonna have a different focus of the colors that you're gonna use. So, are you gonna be like me and you want it all? Then get them all, because the good news, as I showed you in the color charts, there was enough variation to justify having them all. And as long as you have the room and the space and the funds to do it, get them all. But if you're limited, that's why I did this video, so that you can see a comparison to say, do I really need all this? Will I be duplicating things? And just to tell you more information, because when I was looking on YouTube, I couldn't find anything. So that's half the time why I decided to make a video. So speaking of which, I really appreciate you watching my video. And if you have an idea of something that you want to see me make, feel free to leave it in the comment below. I'd be happy to see if I can do it for you and knock a video out. I'm really into art lately, and I love making these kinds of videos. And, so just let me know. As always, I enjoy having you join me, and remember, life after 40 is good, and so are you. So until next time, take care.